Welcome to everybody here at the Performance Audit and Risk Committee meeting, including those who may be watching on Zoom. And on my right, I have Mr. Bill Chow, who's our Information Services Manager. So moving to the agenda. First item on the agenda is apologies. We have an apology from Councillor Jim Hopkins, who can't be here today. Moved to Councillor Hall. Seconded Councillor Norman. All in favour, please say aye.
Aye. Thanks.
Clear that carried, accepted. Declarations of interest. Anybody to make any declaration of interest? No? All right. And moving on to confirmation of previous meeting minutes. And there are two lots to be confirmed. Public minutes of the Performance Audit and Risk Committee meeting on the 28th of July, and also public excluded minutes on the same day.
I'll move both minutes if there's no conversation about that.
There's no one wants to ask any questions on the public excluded minutes. I'm happy to put those together in the same resolution. So a separate resolution advised by Governance Advisor. Thank you, Ainsley. So Jeremy, Councillor Holding has moved the public minutes be approved. Seconded, please. Councillor McGrovey. All in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against. Clear that carried. And then the public excluded minutes, which are item 7.1. I'm happy to move the issue. Councillor Kingham. Seconded, Councillor Holding. All in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against. Clear those carried as well. Thank you. Right. So we now go on to decision reports and district Wi-Fi, which Mr. Chow is going to speak to that. I would just now advise that Councillor Holding is the Deputy Chair of the Performance Audit and Risk Committee, and his responsibility is for information services. So I'll perhaps invite Jeremy to come and take the chair, and I'll be Kate.
We're just asked to move to page 15. We have a decision report on the Waitaki Wi-Fi, which I'll ask Mr. Chow to introduce the paper.
All right.
Thanks, everyone. Following Council's resolution, a request for proposal RFP was released to determine the potential for a third party to fulfill in part or in full the implementation of the public Wi-Fi within the selected locations in the Waitaki District. The several vendors within the presence of Waitaki and the South Island were invited to submit a response. Upon the closure of the 8-week tendering period, Council had not received a response to the RFP. Some of the tenders reported they were not in a suitable position to provide the service required. So as a result, we provide 3 options for you to consider. Due to the benefit of the free Wi-Fi, we recommend Council to continue with the project, albeit in a reduced capacity. We have the fund for the implementation at the 3 key locations of the district, and we can include the running cost in the common LTP. All right, so yeah, any questions?
Thank you, Bill. Just a question for you. The only reason that you're recommending Merrimah and Oamaru Harbour and Palmerston is because the providers are not able to deliver wider afield. Is that the only reason?
No, it's not the only reason. We chose the 3 spots because we consider them strategic locations where you can get most people to use the free Wi-Fi, hence improving the benefits we are getting from the economic recovery and economic development point of view.
So one more question, please, if I may. If that was the case, then looking at the Waitaki Valley, and to me, and as a resident there, and also as a supporter of ventures like the Alps to Ocean, I'm really quite concerned there is really no Wi-Fi in the valley apart from Merrimah being offered in this round. There may be other opportunities to fund, if it's a funding issue, there may be other opportunities around to be able to fund Wi-Fi, particularly in Otamatara, or another body that might have funding for that. But I would very much like to see and ask the question whether or not option 1 and 2 could be combined over a period of time, because at the moment we're recommending option 1, and I wonder whether that might be able to be looked at.
Certainly, we can certainly look in we can certainly look at doing more places or installing the Wi-Fi in more locations. What the reason we are suggesting doing 3 locations at the moment is also we would like to minimize the cost during the uncertain times and see if we can achieve the benefits we want to achieve. And in the coming phases, we can certainly include more locations in the project.
Mr. Chair, were you surprised when there weren't any requests for the proposal?
Well, yes and no. Because the RFP was released, I think, shortly after the lockdown, or was it during the lockdown? I think a lot of companies were probably impacted by the lockdown. And the second is the saying yes is because we've got a few parties showing interest when we first got in contact with them. And no is because, like I said, maybe the COVID impacted the business, or they would rather spend their money and effort on, bigger projects.
Yeah, Bill, in option 2, do you consider the risks that you've explained are enough to not recommend that as because of its financial savings? You get what I mean? I mean, there's a big difference between the cost of 1 and 2, and you can enable you to do more sites with negotiation with existing users. And I don't quite understand what you mean by piggyback.
Okay.
On the clients that you might wish to use.
Yeah. So this option we negotiate with the likes of a good example, the Lost World, where they've already got internet, and we may be able to negotiate with organizations like that and say, hey, can we use your internet, and we install the wireless access points for public to use the free Wi-Fi. It takes time to negotiate, and there are other risks, like I highlighted in the report. It takes a lot of time, which may impact the high priority project delivery, and we may have finger pointing issue when there's a problem. Because when we identify a problem, we may say, we can see it's the shop or the internet issue. But they may say, okay, our internet is perfectly fine. It's your Wi-Fi issue, and we may end up having a prolonged, downtime. Yeah, and the last but not least, the recommendation to install Wi-Fi in those 3 locations is there are the key locations where people won't have to travel, where we get most of the passerbys or travelers. So when they stop and they use the Wi-Fi, they'll get to know what's happening in the district, and we're likely to get them to maybe come over this side. Like say, for example, in Amara, when they access Wi-Fi, they know that a lot of things happening along Highway 83 and in Oamaru, so they may travel this way. And similarly, if we get people to use Wi-Fi in Oamaru and other places, we can get people to see there are things happening along Highway 83, and they can go that way. So more economic benefits.
Councillor Wilson.
Yeah, thanks, Bill, for your paper. Just a question on that option 2, in terms of piggybacking back on shops and organisations. Is there any risk to the security of that shop or organisation's internet if they allow the public to piggyback onto their system?
Yeah, the shop owners will certainly have concerns and will question the ability and whether we will be able to keep their internet secure. So that's why I said the negotiation will probably take a lot of time. So because we need to prove that we are doing the right thing and will not negatively impact their security. So yeah. Does this answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Indeed, yep.
Another question, but with the library Wi-Fi in Omarama. Apparently there may well be library Wi-Fi coming into Otago at some stage. And given the public Wi-Fi in Palmerston, sorry, the council Wi-Fi in Palmerston, would the cost not be a lot less given, if we're looking at piggybacking, would the cost not be a lot less if we hooked into our own Wi-Fi that we've got in those places, or were you thinking of a standalone Wi-Fi install?
Yeah, we do have free public Wi-Fi in the library, but they're not provided by us. They're provided by an organization called APNK.
Right.
So we do not own those devices or the internet.
Okay, thanks.
Any more questions from committee members or councillors?
Just wondering, with the potential of people logging into the free Wi-Fi, am I assuming correctly that you'd be looking at having a front end for people to log into, which we can use for marketing purposes, like helps tuition or things that are happening in the local area?
Yes, that's what we have considered. There will be a portal when they log in, and they have to accept, of course, the terms and conditions. And there will also be a page showing, like, say, what's happening currently in the district, and we can even do more, like, say, for example, show people where to go for, lunch and dinner, and to have a cup of coffee, and promote promotion of activities, and such. Yeah, there are many possibilities.
Is that a sellable marketing tool that you can look at businesses on?
Yeah, we can certainly do that.
It has been raised before that there's potential to do that sort of marketing through that. But once you're starting to get into paid marketing and so forth and promoting third parties, it does require someone to actually be going and selling the marketing. I think using it as an opportunity to tell people what's going on in the area and what's coming up and so forth are good opportunities. And that's the sort of thing that particularly the comms department would be quite up on anyway. I know it's been used as a bit of a selling tool in the past to pay for itself, but the reality is by the time you end up with marketing to sell the ad space, it can not be as financial as some people might think. So if it works, then it's fine, but if it's not, if you take up more time than it's worth doing, then that's where it's self-defeating, but great opportunity to promote the area.
Councillor Wolstein.
Yeah, thank you. Just another question, Bill. With your recommendation to the 3 sites for it at the present time, is there an intention to expand? Doesn't say it in the report, but expand to more sites in the future, or is this seen as being the be-all and end-all of the project?
Yeah, this is the phase 1.
Phase 1.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. We would like to see the uptake and analyze the impact before we do more sites.
And perhaps also establish the cost as well to see what the cost exactly is.
Yeah. So we can certainly look at doing more places in the phase 2 and 3 in the longer term.
Yeah, thanks.
Just with your option 1, Bill, and the one-time cost for installation, I'm just wondering the life of the whatever assets or life.
5+ years.
Just ask if the committee has any more questions, or if you'd like to move on to the recommendation. Good. That one for a mover of that one.
Yeah, the recommendation is presented. Thank you.
So 1, council supports the establishment of free Wi-Fi implemented by the information services team on the basis that A, the implementation is limited to Omarama, the Oamaru Harbour Zone and Palmerston, and B, local businesses are engaged in the process. Is there a second? Yeah, second by Mia Kircher.
If I could just suggest a minor change to the wording to the mover, implementation is limited for the time being to Marama. Just, we want to send the signal that we actually want to do more, but this is phase one, as Mr. Chair said.
Yes, indeed, I'm happy with that.
Thank you.
Okay, all those in favour?
Aye.
Against? It's carried. Thanks for that, and we'll move on to page 20 of the memorandum report.
Excuse me, I was against that.
Should I have that recorded, Councillor Purcell?
Did we not talk to that motion?
Or do you want a chance to talk about it?
Well, yeah, I did. I did want a chance to talk to it
So
because I'm not comfortable with that. This is, looking at option 2 and the cost of it and establishing it, I don't believe that the risks that have been shown here are major. I mean, my knowledge about Wi-Fi is getting that cut, but there's a huge difference in cost. 30-odd thousand plus ongoing costs to maintain that, and the bill just said it has a life of 4 to 5 years. I mean, I'm not comfortable with that because I don't believe option 2 has been digested enough. The reasons, as I say, the risk reasons don't, to me, appear to be great.
So there's
And we can get more coverage by using up to 4 to 5 different locations.
Bill answer first.
Well, I was going to say, I agree with you until I saw that it's a per site cost. $12,000 per site. So it actually will add up significantly.
And also to add to that, the Oamaru Harbour, why the implementation cost is 30,200 is because we've got 3 access points, not just 1. So that's the cost of 3 access points to cover the whole harbour area.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So it would still financially be, but no. Okay. But I'm still voting against.
Thank you, Councillor Percival. We'll record that motion is carried. We'll record Councillor Percival's against. And if we move to page 20 of the memorandum reports, the Information Services Group update.
Okay. Thanks everyone for the opportunity to give an update on the Information Services Group activities. Please feel free to interrupt if you've got any questions. So the IS Group's activity have shifted to supporting business as usual and implementing long-term oriented solutions from remote working user support after the lockdown. The group has been negatively impacted by the departure of 3 core staff. The number was 2 when the report was written. The staff left to take up positions at competing organizations which offered higher salaries. 2 of the 3 staff were on fixed-term position with WBC, and the reason for the departure, other than higher salary, was security. The competing organizations offered permanent roles. And despite having stretched resources, Information Services Group managed to continue delivering enterprise projects, carrying on doing BAU activities, and improving IT infrastructure to provide overall better information services. And normally this is where I will stop and take questions. But since we have the whole time this time, and I will go through some of the important stuff, even though I will not go like a paragraph. Information Services Group is actively working with the other business units on corporatizing the project management framework we're using. We are also developing new tools, such as the Hive one Suzanne mentioned earlier, to support the framework. As a result, the whole council can benefit from enhanced project management and improved visibility of project activities. This will enable us to achieve what Councillor Newton suggested earlier during the dashboard session. The Digital Workplace project and the LTP-AP project is seriously hit by the departure of the core staff. The first round of recruitment didn't go well for one of the positions. We are advertising again. For the APLTP project, we have a staff on secondment from finance team to keep the project going as we have looming deadlines. Thanks, Paul. And the third project affected by leaving staff is the district plan submission project. There's nothing we can do until the vacancy is filled. We have made a significant progress on the business intelligence and dashboard project. We just had a presentation from Richard. We can all see the progress made in that area. Some of the challenges of other projects, such as the event and facility booking and the property asset management system, have also been impacted by the workload of the other business units. Moving on to the systems team, a big portion of the systems team work has been on keeping lights on and a lot of manual work. Work has been done. A digital workplace is an example to start making information more readily available for staff. As a result of that work, more effort can be spent on value-adding activities such as project delivery. We have also identified issues related to tasks that should be part of a project coming in as business as usual tasks. This is not a suitable way to deliver project as project management methodology is not followed. As a result, we can have scope creep, resource constraints, and even project failure. Not to mention BAU activities will be negatively affected as resources are not being used in a controlled manner. We are working with the business unit to follow the proper business project management framework and to create proper projects. Lastly, the noteworthy work done by the IT team is around the infrastructure and the services improvement. As a result of that work, we are in a much better position to offer agile, scalable, and secure services. That's everything, and happy to take questions.
If we just go back to the project management side, if anyone has questions around that. If we move on then, if there's nothing there around the systems management.
It's a great report.
That is a pretty thorough report. Do you want to carry on?
All right, so questions. So we move on to the PE, or
do you want to speak more to the report about some of the projects, or?
Yeah, I think that's gone deep into some of the projects. So happy to take questions, and if not any, then happy to move on.
If there's no questions, I'll pass as a recommendation for a mover as it stands that performs audit risk, receives and notes the information. Move Mayor Kircher. Second, Councillor King. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? It's carried. So we need a resolution now to move into public excluded.
Happy to move. Councillor Rob.
All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? It's carried. Thank you, Bill, for your report.